Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski. You can call me Grizzer, and this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. The elf on the wall should have told you. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes, who has subscribed to the channel, who have become members of the Browns' latest dog pound. Woof, woof. And to all of you who get your comments down there in the viewer comment section. Is there something we should be talking about today? Oh, yeah, that's right. It is not a meltdown Monday. Yes, we lost. But it is Breakdown Monday. We're going to break down not only the Browns' performance yesterday against the Raiders, but we'll talk about Shedeur Sanders' second half. So even though we lost, we are not going into Meltdown Monday mode. It is Breakdown Monday today. Now that Shedeur got his first action in a regular season game, I'll tell you what has to happen next. The storylines heading into this week's game with the Raiders favor a change at quarterback. And then down there in the viewer comments, there's a common theme that keeps showing up. We'll have to find out what that's all about. Hey, but before we get going today, I just want to let everybody know, Bernie Kosar is getting his liver transplant today. So that was the word late last night, is that Bernie will get the liver transplant today. And so hopefully that will solve, everything, take care of everything that he's been going through. Everybody is pulling for him, not just in Cleveland, around the world, in the NFL. And so sending good vibes over to Bernie, number 19 today. That, to me, is the biggest story of the day. We've got to get Bernie healthy. And so we'll be watching him. We'll be monitoring. But good vibes to Bernie. Send Bernie some good vibes. Okay, now that we updated you on Bernie's situation, let's break down this one. No, usually we melt down on Mondays after a loss, but we're not melting down today because I was very encouraged by what I saw. Now, what we're going to break down is, the game went like pretty much like a lot of our losses have gone. The defense played well very long, for as long as they could, and then the offense just couldn't get anything going. But in the second half, look, you bring a rookie quarterback in there who's got no reps with the first team. It's going to look probably going to look a little rough the first few series. And on any level, it might look a little rough when you don't give him any first team reps or any joint practices or come on. And then you could see, he settled down and got to that 2-minute drill and looked much more comfortable when we got there. So this was a Ravens team that was laser focused, especially after Pittsburgh lost and Aaron Rodgers, they're saying broken hand. So their season is over. Pittsburgh's season is done. And so now they have their sights set on winning the division even after the start that they had. And so they were laser focused, man. They came in and then when Shedeur came in, they made second half adjustments, and I'm sure it threw them for a little bit of a loop when Shedeur came in, but they were all over us. That offensive line is it can't pass block to save their lives. And so I don't understand why we didn't run the ball more. I thought we could have done the play calling still, a little suspect. And I think it has a lot to do with Gabriel. And I think that is why the move was made. I'm sorry, but it just seemed too coincidental to say that Dylan was being evaluated for a concussion when nobody knows what play it was that he got concussed on. I'm guessing it was the one when the linebacker ran him down and tackled him. But there was he didn't hit his head. Didn't look like it. I just think they needed a reason to make the move, and that's what they came up with. And so, because Stefanski doesn't want to admit that they made a huge mistake taking an undersized left-handed quarterback in the third round and then thinking that he would be the franchise quarterback. This is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And so they had to make a move. The offense was going nowhere, doing nothing. So it's like, all right, let's go. Let's go to 12. And so they go to 12. But Myles Garrett, 4 sacks, set the record for consecutive seasons with at least 12 sacks. I mean, he's playing out of his mind this year. But so here's the thing. Why do I think they made the move? Well, during the first half, the "We Want Shedeur" chants, they were out there. Everybody's chanting "We Want Shedeur," and Gabriel's throwing worm burners, and they're booing him. They have to make the move. I mean, that's the only way you break this down. That first half was as bad as it, especially when they were set up shop on the 6-yard line, and they got no yards. They gained 3, lost 3, threw an incomplete pass, and it had to kick a field goal. Schmidt was a bright spot. That was, Schmidt, at least he made his kicks. But that's the only way I'm breaking this down. I'm sorry, folks. I think this injury thing. So now, it's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see come Wednesday if he's out of the protocol or not. I got a feeling he won't be. I think, I just have a feeling. So, but yeah, and then, Shedeur came in, and obviously, you have to get used to the speed of the game, and you get the Ravens, right? It's a tough situation, and I thought he handled it well, and he did not let it get him flustered. He gave us a shot at the end. That throw to Larvadain was as good as it gets in the NFL, man. It's a great read, great throw. So nothing wrong with that. So now, what happens next? Well, it's not so much what happens next. It's what shouldn't happen next, honestly. And we should not be going back to Dillon Gabriel ever again. He should be the backup quarterback for the rest of the season. This should be Shedeur's job from here on out. And I think that you get the combination of Shedeur working with Tommy Rees on a regular basis, and you will see this offense just keep growing. I have never seen so many passes down the field in just one half than I did in the last 6 weeks. Like, it's just non-existent, just not there, and he didn't have to roll out every time to do it. People were questioning, and so was I, like, where, the play calls again. Like, why weren't we calling some screens? They were so aggressive. It was jailhouse blitzes, like they were jailbreak blitzing us every single time. Like why not call the screen? Where were the jet sweeps with Isaiah Bond? Like, we didn't get Bond involved at all. Dylan Sampson gets 1 carry, breaks off a 22-yard run, and you don't see him again. So, as good as Judkins is, I mean, he again, we kind of went away from the run, we don't adjust to what they're doing. We're just like, okay, we can't do that anymore, So Tommy Rees, man, but here's what I think. I think you almost have to go away from things when you have a quarterback that can't stretch the field and can't do the things a quarterback needs to do in the NFL. And that's why, like, this is over, man. This Dillon Gabriel experiment is over. He could be a fine backup. That's it. That's all you're going to get. And you just saw the difference with Shedeur, man. You could see the intangibles, just like the juice he brought to the offense, to the crowd, everything. I can't wait to see these ratings. Can you imagine what it's going to be like from halftime in the third and fourth quarter of the Browns-Ravens game? I can't wait. I cannot wait to see these numbers. There's no going back to Dillon Gabriel. I don't care what Kevin Stefanski says, man. You can't go back. So here's what I think will happen. I think Wednesday he'll still be in the protocol. Thursday he'll probably still be in the protocol. And by then, I mean, he can't start. He can't start against the Raiders. So I don't think he can even start. You miss one day. I don't think he's not. I mean, he's not. He hasn't been around long enough, and the offense has been terrible. Like you have to put together a game plan for Shedeur. You can't be putting together 2 different game plans for your short left-handed quarterback and your other quarterback who has first-round talent, and it could potentially be your next franchise quarterback. Dillon Gabriel could not potentially be the next franchise quarterback. Shedeur Sanders could potentially be the next franchise quarterback, so you got to see him. Got to see what you got. Let him and Tommy Boy start working together. So storylines now heading into this Raiders game. The biggest storyline for me is, will Kevin Stefanski do the right thing and start Shedeur? Not just this Raiders game, but the rest of the way. That's going to be the big storyline. That is going to be huge. And he'll dodge the questions today. He'll have his little Zoom thing, and then won't have to talk to anybody tomorrow. And then we'll see Wednesday if if Gabriel's out of the protocol. I don't think he will be. I think they have now. They know what they have. Everybody knows what you have with Dillon Gabriel, and so that it's time to move on. It really is. I mean, it was early, like a week or two ago, but it is now. It is time to move on. The Raiders have a short week because they're playing Monday Night Football against Dallas. So another reason to start Shedeur. You're going to catch the Raiders on a short week. So hopefully Dallas will beat them up tonight a little bit too, and let them, let them come in limping. But it's time. It is perfect timing for Shedeur to start this week, and I hope he grabs the reins and just keeps running with it and never looks back. And I hope that this quarterback situation is solved with Shedeur. That's all Browns fans want. So quit toying with this, Kevin Stefanski, and give Shedeur his shot. Because even with all of that preparation that Dillon Gabriel got, and all of the joint practices, that's what people forget. People talk about the game experience and the first team reps, but those joint practices, that was like almost an entire game in itself. Those 2 weeks of joint practices with the Eagles and, it escapes me. It's been a long day already on this Monday morning. But people forget about that. Those joint practices are every bit as that is NFL level. Those are more like games than the preseason games are. So people keep forgetting about that. He got all those joint practices too, and all of that experience. And week to week, he goes out there, and week to week, the offense doesn't get any better. It just keeps getting worse. It's so. The experiment's over. It's time to move on with Shedeur and not look back. Okay, please, Kevin, please, can you do that for us? Just move on. But I thought Shedeur held his own, and then I thought he looked really good on that last drive. And boy, oh boy, it'd have been so nice to see him finish that drive, that pass to Larvidan. Oof, boy, that was a nice one. Now, what's always nice, too, are the viewer comments. And packed it up a little bit with some viewer comments. Everybody had some things to say. We'll start with Cheryl Holder, 3113. I was happy to see Shedeur play, but he needs to get some first-team reps and give him time. Yeah, I think that's what everybody's saying. You saw, just the eye test. Passes the eye test, at least for me. The passes downfield, the escapability, ability to avoid the rush, And yeah, I know there were some bad things mixed in there, but they're rookie mistakes, and I think he's those are all coachable, 100% coachable. Moya business. The game was way more exciting with Shedeur. Yeah, it was. Everybody was on the edge of their seat when that happened. And you heard the reaction from the crowd. It's like you cannot deny that. And like I said yesterday on the instant reaction show, the only thing that this equates to is when Baker came in that Thursday night against the Jets and just electrified the whole stadium. And the only thing that was missing was the win. And so had that happened, I mean, even though the Browns did not win that game, everybody still doesn't want to go back to Dillon Gabriel. There's nobody that wants to go back to Dillon Gabriel. He can be the backup. That's it. He's a backup quarterback. This is a crazy handle, but we'll shorten it to Rahman5691, who says, I hope Stefanski actually prepares him. How about some reps with the ones? Again, that's the common theme we talked about at the top of the show. If he gets the right amount of practice time and the right preparation, and he works with Tommy Reese, and they put together a game plan to that's suitable for him, I think it makes all the difference. And so it will be fun to watch, him take on that, because that Raiders defense is not like the Baltimore defense. I think it'll be a good test for him. I mean, Dylan's had his chance. I mean, Miami had the worst defense in the league at the time we played them, and we couldn't do anything. RJ 66 says he will be great once he gets to practice with the first team. The receivers need to catch the balls. Yeah, I mean, that was a tough play. It was good defense on the Larvadan. Judy made a nice catch on that one, and catch and run. You just felt like the offense, like that last drive, that was a good look at what Shedeur could bring, man. You saw a little bit of everything. So, yeah, and experience is only going to help it, make it better. Luckeye P says, let's see what Sanders looks like after 6 games. I agree. That's what we're saying. I mean, this isn't like Dylan Gabriel's only had a couple of weeks. I say the joint practices for sure count. You got the start against the Rams. All of that. Like he has gotten so much extra time to prepare for this. And like I said, it doesn't get any better. So it's time to move on. It's over. Can't happen. Cannot go back to Dylan Gabriel. Joseph Norman. Huge ability to go through the progression. You clearly see him scanning the field instead of being told where to throw. And I saw the same thing. You could see him, you're not locked in on one receiver. And that's like you saw it on the throw to Fannin. You saw it, even with the one to Larvadan. I mean, Gabriel, he can only throw 5 yards. So the only thing we're going to get out of that is a first down. Even Gabriel threw those passes. We talked about it yesterday. We're throwing short of the sticks. You can't do that. We're throwing 2-yard passes every single time when we need 5. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. So, yeah, no, I saw the same thing. I thought he looked so much more like an NFL quarterback, for sure. Ramondo Bryant says he did great not to have any reps. Yeah, that's what everybody, I agree. For as little, if that is all true, then I thought he really held his own. The Ashante mom, she broke this down nicely. She says, Grizz, thanks for the instant feedback video. You're welcome. Here's her instant feedback, her breakdown. The Ashante mom says, 1, Shedeur was put in the game because no one would have been at the next home game. That's true. That is true. That concussion protocol was suspect. That's true, too. Shedeur played okay, given 0 reps with the starting O-line and receivers. This offensive line. Like, I don't understand why we were running the ball so well in the first half, and then we just stopped doing it. Like, my thought is, we had a lot of success running to the right behind Conklin. But if they're catching up to that, start mixing it up. Run some things to the left. Run some jet sweeps. Run something. Tight end pops. I love the tight end pop. Run those drags across the middle with Judy. Something. Like, you could run those extended run play, those quick hitches off the line. Like set up a screen. Set up a wide receiver screen. Where's our tight end screens? Like, none of it was there. I go on though. Ashante mom goes on. She says, Dylan has gotten reps for 5 months. Shedeur will get 1 week, but I still expect him to play better than Dylan if the O-line protects the pocket long enough for the receivers to get open downfield. Lastly, did you notice that Stefanski finally said Shedeur's name toward the end of his press conference? Yes, we noticed. And that is a weird thing why he won't. I don't get it. Again, it's just another weird thing. But you're right. I think that this is why you can't go back to Dylan Gabriel. And maybe this is what he's so afraid of. Because I think 1 week with him and Tommy Boy working on a game plan, next Sunday he balls out against the Raiders. Done. That's what I think. I totally agree with that. Robert Masters, 405. The Ravens defense came to life when Sanders got in there. They did not want him to have time to throw. But it's like I said before, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If our line can't protect them, scrap the whole O-line and start fresh. Yeah, that's the problem, though. You're going to have to, because all of these guys all their contracts are ending, and they're all old. And it's like, so this is on Andrew Berry, this offensive line. To put us in this situation with this offensive line. And then the guys we signed, Levinson, and you go Robinson. I told you Robinson was a scrub. If Robinson was any good, he would have been somebody's left tackle for like the last 10 years. But he's not. And so this is what we do. It's like, go out and we go, like we talked about, we go to Dollar General, or we go to, we go to Five Below. That's where we go look for our linemen that we sign. We're not going to the Mercedes-Benz dealer of offensive line. We don't. That's what we do. And this is all on Barry. It's so important to have we got the defensive line straightened out. Now we got to get the offensive line straightened out. But I think Shedeur helps hide some of those problems. You saw it already just in one half of play with his ability to get out of there and then keep his eyes downfield. Gabriel can't do that. Gabriel's not running away from anybody. We were telling you that for months. Highly creative digital, 5472. That is the truth. I saw what you saw. Well, I appreciate that, creative digital. I always strive for actual and factual, and then I throw in a little infotainment. I try to infotain you a little bit, but yeah, no, I mean, that's what I saw. I'm honest. Yes, he looked like a rookie, but then he also balanced it out. Like once he got, it's the speed of the game. You have to adjust to the speed of the game. Every time you go up, and there is no game that is bigger or faster than the NFL, man. Those guys, even the little guys, are big. And the slow guys are super fast. Like this is ridiculous fast. So, yeah, he'll adjust. That's all you need. You just got to give him time to adjust. He better be starting on Sunday. Oh, my gosh. They will. I have a feeling the stadium, they're moving out of there anyway. The stadium will be gone if they don't start him on Sunday, because people will go down there and rip it apart. That's my prediction. Can't wait to see these ratings, too. But, okay, we will end our Breakdown Monday, not a Meltdown Monday. If you're just tuning in and you're going, I came for Meltdown Monday, no Meltdown Monday. We were so encouraged by what we saw by Shedeur. In the second half, we have something to be excited about finally here in Cleveland. And so Kevin Stefanski better not blow up Disneyland, because that is the most magical place on earth. And right now, we feel like we have walked into Disneyland. We're having those Disneyland-type feelings. And Kevin Stefanski better not blow it up. Better not blow it up. But we will end today with the D-Files 1. The D-Files 1, who simply wrote grade A. I'm guessing that's my grade. Is that my grade? The D-Files? I get the A? Do I get the A? I appreciate it. Maybe it's for Shedeur. Because I gave Shedeur B minus C plus. There were good things. There were bad. They're kind of right in the middle there. So, but hey, I'll take the grade A. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed the instant reaction. Oh, it was so good to see Shedeur finally get in there. Now, come Wednesday, we better do the right thing. Better do the right thing, and Shedeur better start the rest of the season. If you go back to Dillon Gabriel, holy moly. I'm telling you, man, they might burn that stadium down if you go back to Dillon Gabriel. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody. So do the right thing, coach. Do the right thing. All right, that's going to do it. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.